Hello, good morning, and welcome to the SSF Romcast. We are on, oh God, season 8 now, and this is episode 9. If you've joined us before, you know who I am, but I will introduce myself. I am Jessica, and I am joined by my lovely co-host.
Emma Jackson. And we also have with us today self-published author Ali Williams.
Hello.
Hello. So, Jess,
Oh, yeah,
we
so yeah, I did.
remember.
Just said Jessica starts the question. The
Don't
kitty
worry,
gets the
we know what we're
pancakes,
doing. It's fine.
the bunny gets the milkshake. Yeah, so what we do every time, we kind of don't go in and go, okay, give us the plot, give us a description. So we want you to tell us what kind of reader you think would be inspired by your book, Nix and Tell.
Um, Gay readers. My books are very gay. Specifically Sapphic. This series is Sapphic. People who like spicy. There's a fisting scene in a river. Um,
I did mention that to Emma when I read the blurb. That was I think
Yeah.
I said, I'm sending this to you rather than my husband, and it feels right.
Yeah. That's right. That's the kind of thing we send into each other. Yeah.
it's kind of urban fantasy light. So, and it's a cross between urban fantasy and paranormal romance. If you're interested in gods, and small town romances, that's kind of the vibe I've gone for, like spicy. So, readers who love spicy stuff, people who are interested in gods and mythology. So, it sort of sits within my God's Touch universe. And I have multiple mini series within it, and each mini series deals with a different pantheon of gods.
Okay, very
So
cool.
the basically the premise is magic is leaking back into the world. Um, and so wherever you are in the world, different gods are finally making their way back and interfering in the lives of mortals because of course they are. Because what else
What
is a
they're
god
there
gonna
for.
do?
Yeah, that is their primary focus,
Yeah.
it seems.
So
Oh,
yeah,
that's so
so
cool.
yeah, sex, sapphics, and magic. That's pretty
Ah,
much my.
Yeah,
You're
awesome.
interested in that? That's my thing.
Yeah. It's
ticks all the boxes.
definitely got that it's like a cozy
Yeah.
vibe, isn't it, to it? Absolutely, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah, but with
Um
with higher heat, like I do kind of
yeah.
because a lot of cozy fantasy is closed door, and I love them, but also I really enjoy writing a spicy and specifically kinky sex scenes.
Yeah.
So I kind of build that in. It's
Hmm.
cozy fantasy with kink.
Yes. Yeah. It kind of like we've talked a lot in the past about how monster romance has a cozy vibe. It's got that high heat level, but
Yeah.
also quite a cozy found family. Like you say, there's a lot
Yes.
of um, queerness and stuff that is involved in, monster romance too, especially like why choose and things like
Yes.
that. So, but yeah, this is more, like you say, a bit more urban fantasy, paranormal romance. They
Yeah.
they all kind of blend, don't they?
Yeah. Definitely.
Um, yeah. So speaking of, your sapphic-ness and everything, um, diversity is still like really underrepresented, but there is a lot more coming into mainstream romantasy and romance. I think in particular, it feels like it's been a little bit more of a front runner.
Mm.
But how do you think the industry's changed with it over the years, and what can we keep doing to keep it moving in the right direction? And if you have loads of recs,
I
please
have
drop
I
them.
have physical books by me to hold if you
Awesome.
like this.
Yes.
Um, So it's really interesting to me. When I first started reading romance, back when I was like 10 years old, I read Mills and Boon. That's where I
Hmm.
started.
Hmm.
When I first wanted to write, I tried writing Mills and Boon romances, and I never thought I would get to see a sapphic Mills and Boon. And now there are
Hmm.
multiple of them,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
is crazy exciting. I'm really happy about it. Um, but I think it's literally the last couple of years, and one of
Yeah.
the things that has changed it has been book talk. Like it's had such
Mm.
a huge impact and influence on um, the way that people market. I mean,
Mm.
so now people use sapphic more. I would say probably 10, 15 years ago, people were using lesfic. as a
Okay.
term for sort of lesbian romances. Now,
Okay.
it's
Mm.
not as inclusive of bi women, pan women. Um, Sapphic is a nicer, not nicer, it's a broader term.
Yeah.
Not nicer because I do identify as lesbian. Um,
Yeah.
but it's inclusive of bi women and pan women. You can have sapphic non-binaries, you can have
Mm.
sapphic trans women. So it's really, really inclusive. And I feel like that sort of shift and the explosion of sapphic spaces, particularly, I mean, I've even seen in the last year, like groups on Facebook, reader groups on Facebook blow up.
Yeah.
Um, Reader accounts, Sapphic reader accounts on Instagram blowing up. Like there's a very, very strong community. Um, and traditional publishing is trying to catch up.
Hmm.
So we are seeing more Sapphic books published traditionally. I have here Feybound. Oh God, wait
Ah,
there.
I've got
Put it
that
in front
one.
of my face.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, look at
Zara
that.
L. Arifi. There we go.
Hmm.
Um, who is a black author, and that has, I think, an entirely black cast, and it's Sapphic,
Yeah.
Sapphic
Yeah.
black elves and fae, which is exciting,
Yeah.
and that's traditionally published, so that's really cool. Sierra, if you want more Sapphic fae, Sierra Simone's The Fae Queen's Captive.
Oh,
So
I
that
love
was
Sierra.
originally released as one of the Bonkers Romance Kickstarters. So
Okay.
Katie Roberts
Yeah.
does these huge Kickstarters that generate hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I'll
Um,
say, yeah, I think we've done RM Virtues in one of the other episodes. I think
yes,
they were included as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember if they were in this one or a different one. But I think they were in one of the other ones with all
Yeah,
the
yes.
yeah. But they usually and Katie usually ensures that there are queer books included
Mm.
as part of that, and that's epic and sapphic and quite dark. And if you like gods, we've got Arizona Tape, who is prolific releases, like a book a month. She is an author of color. They're more sort of, they're not closed door, but they're lower heat levels.
Hmm.
But her books are amazing. And she writes with her partner Laura as well. And they have these, and those are sometimes sapphic, sometimes queer, mixed queer pairings. Um, Lian Yu Tan, um, Captive in the Underworld, which is a very, very dark version of like Queen Hades and Persephone, which I
Okay.
Ooh.
love. And then Coralie Moss is has the Goddesses Fantasy series, which I really love. And this one has asexual romance
Hmm.
between a Valkyrie and Persephone.
Hmm.
Um, Out of those five books I just shared, one of them was traditionally published.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
this is it.
there are more, but like I have three shelves of explicitly sapphic fantasy and science fiction romance. Three shelves, and a handful of those books are traditionally published. We're seeing
Mm.
more of them in book boxes, which is really nice, especially in things like Rainbow Crate. I'm in February's Rainbows After Dark one.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, the books
Awesome.
are being released. They're actually being shipped this week. So I'm hoping that they arrive when I come back from Vegas and I don't have to go and collect huge boxes from some kind of
Yeah, touch wood.
some corner of Brighton somewhere. Um, sorry, have I gone off topic? No, I think I've kept on
Oh,
topic.
no, we're all good. We're all good.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, I was going to say
Yeah,
the
how do
problem
we
is when we keep talking about this and an hour has gone, and we're like, oh, next question.
It's fine.
how can we keep going in the right direction? By buying diversely and supporting diversely. And I think
Hmm.
one of the big things with that is buying physical books. Like when we
Okay.
think about the challenges and the threat to queer romance, any kind of any romance that you could slap a DEI sticker on if you're the orange monster.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Probably shouldn't say that before I fly to Vegas tomorrow. This isn't going out for a week. I'm fine. Chop that
You're
out.
fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
Um, any of those books, the likelihood they're starting to delete things. They are starting to
Right.
delete policies and documents, and I don't know where we're going to be in 4 years' time.
Hmm.
So part of that for me is making sure that we have physical copies of books in case things get taken down or
Yeah.
books start disappearing. And buying both from Amazon, but also buying physical copies from indie authors they make more money off that than if you buy a book on Amazon or you buy an ebook. Like the markup on a physical book is higher because you decide you can set the price.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you buy directly, it's so much easier. I have a
Mm.
direct bookshop in case anyone is interested.
Yep. Yep.
I sign all my
Yeah.
books and they're really pretty.
Oh.
But yeah, no, I think when we think about threats to queer romance, particularly, especially when you think about some of the laws they're trying to pass in like Oklahoma and Alabama, where they're trying to, and in Project 2025, where they wanted to reclassify anything queer as pornography
Yeah.
and slap a prison sentence on people who distribute it, so librarians and teachers. Like,
Mm.
we gotta fucking resist.
Yes. Read varied, read
Yeah.
often, purchase all.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. So KU was good. KU is wonderful. I know there's lots of discussions about it at the moment. Like it is a wonderful tool for people who can't afford to buy as many books as they would like. And reading, if you're not pirating books, a-okay with me.
Yes. Yeah.
But buying physical books is a way
Hmm.
of creating mini libraries that we can hold on to.
Yeah. Okay.
Love it. But yeah, so you're on about pretty covers, and the next question, I saw your cover, and when I started reading, I just loved the descriptions. Yeah,
Okay, there.
there
There's
it
my
is.
face there.
Oh, look.
Goes
Yeah,
in and out. It's so pretty.
yeah. So Chloe is the tailor in this book, and I found it really fitting that when I was reading and you were describing their clothing, I found everything fit their personalities so well. Yeah, I was just loving every description you were giving. So, did you kind of have the characters and fit the clothing around them, or did it work the other way? Or have I just gone totally off the point and I just love that bit of it?
No, it was written. So the covers are by Leni Kaufman. Shout out to
Mm.
Leni Kaufman, who is a goddess to work with. Uh, she did the Hannah Grace um,
Wow. Yeah.
icebreaker covers
Yeah.
and all these like really iconic illustrated covers, and they were not cheap. Um, 100% worth it. Like I am very much in favor of paying artists what they deserve rather than plugging things into a computer and ethically ripping shit off. That
Yeah.
Yeah.
no. Um, so when it came to this series, is actually what came first was what did I want for the covers? And she asked for Pinterest boards. So for each book, I created a Pinterest board and found characters. And originally, the series was not going to be paranormal. It was going to be like a rom-com series.
Hmm.
Um, and then I just realized that no, no, no. I love writing paranormal. I love writing fantasy. I love this world. I need to stay in this world. So I had the images of the characters first, sort of inspired by the different Pinterest. And Chloe in specifically, there was a woman dressed like she's in the 1920s in a suit with braces, and I was like, oh, I want to write a book about her.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where that came from. And it really surprised me. Like the characters changed. Like I thought when I was writing it, so Chloe is the Fae and Violet is the human. Um, I thought Chloe would be the Dom because she's Fae. She's got all
Hmm.
this magic. And it like I started writing, I was like, oh, oh no, she's a service top, but she's really subby. That's really cute. So it completely changed how I saw them. But Chloe's relationship to plants and material really formed a huge part of that. Like her relationship with the river as a river Nix and not wanting to be in the river and not having the affinity
Mm.
with water that the rest of her family and her community does really shaped the way that she interacted with Vi and also how she chose to dress herself. And there's also like I very explicitly talk about her making suits for I think there's a trans boy who's getting ready for prom and has like his blazer adjusted, and a
Mhm.
woman who's had a double mastectomy post cancer treatment and is needing something. So explicitly sort of referencing like the queer community that she is working for as well. I'm going to
Yeah.
grab some water. I think I'm done there. Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
No problem. Um, so the location of the book, Weirton Bridge, if that's how we pronounce it, it sounds fantastic. And it could be like, you can picture loads of places that could be within the UK, but was that inspired by a specific place or was it a
So,
mix of
kind
kind
of.
of?
So the river itself is a real river. It's the River Arun, that
Mhm.
runs through Arundel on the south coast in Sussex on the South Downs. Um, Emma and I both
Yeah.
live on the
Yeah.
basically on the South Downs or around the South Downs, and I love the area. I sort of grew up in Croydon, which is sort of South London, and moved here in my 20s, late 20s, and just I spend a lot of time down here. I live in Brighton, and that's where, for those of you who aren't UK based, it's where a lot of people go at the weekend if you're in London and you want to go to the beach. It's pebbly as fuck, there's no sand, but it's also the queer capital of the UK and it's really nice. So the whole of Sussex is often, it feels quite liberal in some ways, but it has this beautiful background. And I was just like, I'm going to create a village because it's going to be very queer, it's going to be very small, and it's going to be based around this mixed Nix and human community that the human community doesn't even know is there. But the name of Wurton Bridge takes inspiration from Hebden Bridge, which is where Anne Lister or Gentleman Jack lived.
Mhm.
And it has the Old English, this is where I get very nerdy. So Hebden Bridge is an Old English word that comes from, like, den means sort of like hill. Um, but Heb comes from the old word for bramble, Old English word for bramble. So it's kind of like a marrying of these two Old English words.
Mm.
So I took wort comes from the Old English word for starwort, which is a type of water plant that is native to Sussex and Sussex rivers specifically. So Wurton Bridge is literally like the bridge over the starwort space,
Yeah.
which is kind of
No.
very nerdy. But I wanted that link between Wurton and Hebden as
Mhm.
like that sort of nod to
Yeah.
iconic Sapphic Britishness,
Hmm.
as it were. But yeah.
Oh, so I love it when I kind of name things. I kind of, yeah, you try and delve in and kind of get your head around where you're going to make it all fit perfectly. I think it's fantastic. And I love hearing you talk about
It's so nice to be asked sometimes, isn't it? So it could be like, oh,
it.
oh, so
Yeah,
this
let me
is
nerd
why.
with you.
This is a day I lost to this particular one research point that no one
Yeah.
knows. And I have a map at the beginning of the book, but I've just commissioned, because I have a book box of all three books coming out in May, end of May. And I've just commissioned like a fancy map of the village because my
Cool.
one was put together in Canva and it is perfectly acceptable, but it is not beautiful. So I've commissioned like a proper map of Wurton Bridge.
Oh,
Looking
lovely.
forward to seeing that.
Hmm.
So, going back to the river and going into all of
Yes.
this, and I hope I don't get her name wrong. So, the goddess in the book is Trisantona, I'm going with.
Cressendona,
There
yes.
we go, who is the river goddess. And going to it, I researched it a little bit because she's not one I've heard of.
Yeah.
And she is linked to the Trent, which is about 15 minutes from me because I live not far from Burton. So, how did you come about finding her, and what about her drew you in to put her into the book?
So interestingly, I was basically looking for river goddesses. I wanted to do river necks. So I was looking for goddesses that were linked to local rivers in Sussex. Um, and Trisantona, for some unknown reason, is also linked with the River Arun. They think it had a different name originally, but also about 10, 20 years ago, they uncovered a load of coins that had her print on. And so she is the goddess of the River Trent, but also for some unknown reason, the goddess of the River Arun at the same time. And there is one magazine, and it's like a coin collector magazine that has an article about Trisantona and the River Trent, and that's it. And I may have a copy of that one magazine.
You may have just happened to have found it.
Yeah. I mean, so within the God Such universe, I've used ancient Breton goddesses before. So Tristan is an ancient Breton goddess. I think they're really interesting because a lot of them sort of fade out of existence when the Romans invaded.
Hmm.
So if you go down to places like Bath, you get an amalgamation of goddesses. So Sulis, who is the goddess of Bath. goddess in Bath became Sulis Minerva. All British goddesses became facets of Roman gods and goddesses. It's kind of fascinating and slightly weird. So it fit really well with this whole idea of gods and goddesses being pulled behind the veil. I reference the veil a couple of times in the book.
Hmm.
Um, and it's very different from my series that's set in Ireland, where when you look at myths and legends in the British Isles, they are very different things. So we only see British gods and goddesses, ancient Briton gods and goddesses, through the eyes of the Romans, because
Mm.
they were the ones who wrote about it. If you go to Wales, there is some writing. They were a holdout for a while, um, and it sort of blends. Uh, like the reason our heir to the throne is called the Prince of Wales comes from the fact that the only holdout in the UK, because Scotland was kind of its own thing, was Wales, and they were considered the king of the Britons for years before it got sort of watered down to the Prince of Wales.
Mm.
Um, if you go to Scotland, they have their own thing. And then if you cross to Ireland, the Romans never bothered crossing the North Sea to Ireland. So the myths and legends in Ireland are completely intertwined with their magic. Like their history and their magic is one and the same. So when you read their histories, the Tuatha De Danann are gods and they are fae and they are kings. They are all of those things all at once, which I find really fascinating. So like the way that different pantheons work with like this whole idea of being pulled away and let back into the world, they operate really differently.
I was gonna say, so I could just listen to you chat away all day.
Yeah.
I'm literally like, oh my God, I get to talk about this shit. It's so fun.
Oh, that's
Oh
so
God, yeah.
cool.
So yeah,
Yeah. These are the little wormholes that you fall down, aren't they? The
I'm so,
research
oh
ones.
God.
But it is so interesting. Um, yeah, so like you said, like Nix and Tell is the first in a new sort of series that is
Yes.
linked up. When can we expect the second one? Or are there other books that you're working on? Because you have another pen name, don't you?
Yes.
And yeah, what's coming
So,
up? You
oh
are
God,
working on a lot.
I think I counted it the other day. I think it's something like 10 releases this year. I am
Nice.
going too
Oh my
hard. I
God.
may burn out again.
Yes,
It's
you're
fine.
going.
It's fine. Everything's good. So by the time this comes out, the second one will be out. The second
Right.
book comes out on the 31st of March, and the third one comes out on the
Okay.
3rd of May. I have not
Wow.
started the third one yet.
Hmm.
That needs to happen soon. But so we have, oh, will it let me? Will it let me? Oh, right there. I'm gonna turn off the background, with the caveat that the flat is a state because I'm going to Vegas tomorrow.
She's a busy lady, you might have noticed.
I'm
Yes,
very, very busy.
very
How do I
busy.
change my background? Oh God, this is where I go. I don't know how to do any of the things.
You can always
Um,
send it to me and I'll add it to like the end
that
credits and stuff.
is,
If you've got all of your covers, I'll be
oh
happy to
yeah,
put them
oh
all there
Yes,
yes.
we'll put them
I've
all
now.
been
up.
like, yeah, throwing them around. Oh, it's on video. I've got it. Here we are. Uh, turn off the background. There we go. You can see, like, yeah. So we
Oh.
got this one, which is Never Nicks Up. You
Oh,
can't quite see it here, but there's a butt dimple. There's a butt dimple, and it takes pride of place in some scenes. And then we have Don't Give a Nix, which has Kit and
oh, look at
Marla.
that.
Oh no.
They're
So we've
so
met
cool.
all the characters who have love interests. I'm going to turn the background off now because
Yes.
I am vaguely embarrassed about the mess. Um, we've met all the characters in Nix and Tell. One of the things I really like doing is building communities so that when there are hints in book one that Hazel and Finn kind of have a thing for each other, and it's really clear that Kit is absolutely head over heels for Marla because they don't want to do something, and Marla walks in, they're like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do the thing." Marla wants to do it. Cool, I'm in. Like, oh. But they're all just very messy gay women, and I love it. And I've got a re-release of a book with the Morrigan in, which is one of my Irish books in the Unleashed Fae called Chase Me in the Woods, which comes is re-released in August, and that has I murder my first character on page. It was very exciting. Took me completely by
Ooh.
surprise, but he is an arsehole abusive ex-husband and totally deserves it. So I regret nothing.
We're here
Um,
for it.
Yeah.
yeah, so I've got that. I'm going to. by the time this comes out, I shall hopefully be on my way. I will have been back from Vegas. I'm going to Vegas for a conference for um, Dirty Daddies Do Vegas. But you can also find me at Belfast Books and Ball Gowns in June, and Wonderland Masquerade and book signing in Nottingham in July, and then I'm going back to Florida for Smut Lovers in September.
There are
Because of
so
course I
many
am.
more events than
Yes.
like yeah. When people start to mention them, I'm always like, where do they hear about these things? I never hear about until
I'm a
it's too
smut
late.
lover. Where can I go?
Yeah.
Well, the UK signing scene is changing quite rapidly.
Mm.
And it is very indie focused, which is really interesting. I mean, you have huge signings like Rare, which happens at London, and there's a good mix there of both traditionally published and non-traditionally published authors. Like I met Rebecca Yaros just after Fourth Wing had come out and
Yeah.
before it had gone completely wild.
Hmm.
There are a couple of other authors who I met at those things, and I'm like, oh, starry-eyed, um, which is really, really cool. But it's very different from the US scene. Like the US scene, the signings are wild.
Mm.
I'm very much looking forward to it. I have pre-orders that I take with me, and then I sort of have giveaways and stuff. But it's also just an opportunity to meet readers and talk. And at Dirty Daddies, I'm on three different panels, including ones talking about queerness and inclusion and diversity. So
Mm.
everything the everything the government does not like, I will
Yeah.
not be saying that at customs. What are you here for? I'm here for a romance
Yeah.
conference.
Yeah, I'm just
That's
here for,
it.
yeah, talk about books.
I'm
Absolutely.
going to talk about books, which I am doing, and I'm really excited for it. So yeah,
Oh, that's brilliant.
so yeah,
Well, good
that's.
luck.
Thank you
Yes.
so much, and thank you for having me. This has been so much fun.
Oh, we
That's
love
brilliant.
it. We love
Well, you're
it.
not done with us
No, we got
because you'll be
more.
back to chat to us about In the Vanisher's Palace, won't you? It's
Absolutely.
not our next episode. Our next episode we do our monthly book chat on the 8th, but then after that you'll be back with us. I'm looking forward to it.
On the 15th. Yeah, can't wait. Thanks so
Excellent.
much, guys.
Lovely.
Thank you. Join us
Okay,
next time,
see you.
people.
Bye.
Bye.